Hey you guys, it's Desiree Summer, and it is week 3 of Creating Beauty. This week we are talking about our stories, and particularly about telling beautiful stories and living beautiful stories. Because feeling beautiful feelings is great, and living in beautiful surroundings is also great. But if we don't change our stories, if we still consistently tell ourselves some ugly stories or some not good stories, then we're never going to live the lives that we were meant to live and that we want to live, right? So it's so important that we tell ourselves beautiful stories, and that's what this week is all about. And I think this is so important because of the power of storytelling and narration. There was a study that was done, and it's still ongoing, but it was started a while ago, and they were giving people who had PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, who had been in combat and come back with that, and were unresponsive to many of the treatments. And then they were also giving people who had the kind of major depression that was unresponsive to all medications. For instance, a lot of times when people have end-stage cancer or an end-stage disease where they know they are going to die, they have a kind of depression that cannot be treated with other kinds of antidepressant medications for obvious reasons. And also for people who had some addictions that were very much unresponsive to the usual forms of treatment, they were giving them psychedelic drugs. And why was this working was the big question. It was very effective in helping these people, all 3 of those groups, but they didn't really understand why. And until they kind of got into it. And right now, the best theory, although it's still just a theory, is that when these people go into these states, they report that the storytelling voice in their head, the narrator who tells them that ugly story over and over again, whether that's life's awful, or you'll always be a loser, or it's never going to work out, or whatever. When they take the psychedelic drug, it actually shuts down that narrative voice. And for a while, they get relief from it. And the thing is, we all have that narrative voice, and we all have that story that it tells us over and over again. And we often don't even recognize that it is a story. We are convinced that it is the truth. And you probably have had a friend like that before, right? They have an awful story, and no matter how you try to tell them that you see it differently, like, well, actually, I don't know that you are unlucky in love. Like, sometimes you have had great boyfriends, and in the past you have done. I don't think you are unlovable. They will fight you tooth and nail. And if you've ever wondered why, it's because that story seems so, it seems like the truth. So that is how powerful stories are. And that right there should tell you that if we can just change our stories and stop some of the narration, and even see that some of these are just stories and that they can be changed, that can be life-changing. That's why this is one of the most transformative weeks. Even though we're going to work really gently and we're going to choose really small stories, it's still super powerful. And I'm going to warn you right now, we're just going to take little tidbits. We're going to go very slow and make sure we don't hurt ourselves. That's very small and doable, but it is going to take just a little bit more elbow grease, and it's probably going to feel just a little bit more uncomfortable. It's also going to feel really good. So, and like I said, it's worth the effort because it will very much transform your life if you can get the hang of this, and I know that you can get the hang of this. So, for today, what I would love is if you would just sort of think of some of those stories, some of that narration that you have, some of those core beliefs, both some positive ones, but also I want you to think of some of the negative ones that you have, you know? Think about what you believe about your self-worth, or how people value you, what you believe about your age and the future, or dating, or family life. Think about those things. Be super gentle. Don't go too deep. Just write a few down so that we can have something to work with tomorrow. It's going to be really exciting. Can't wait. See you then. Bye.